welcome to the BCM Podcast. I'm today's host, Brad Swail. To my top left, the C from BCM, Charles Blain. There's his Twitter handle right there. The M from BCM, Michael Searle. His Twitter handle's there too. Mine's in there as well. Everyone knows what to do. Welcome to the BCM Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here, especially you, Miss Blain. You are still our favorite by far. We love you to pieces. And one day, Charles will invite you on the show, as Michael and I have suggested many, many times, and yet he keeps ignoring. I don't know why. We would love to speak with you. Now, how is everyone doing? Good. Great.
I thought I was the host today.
Why did you think that?
I don't know.
We've been texting all week about me being the host today, so I don't know why you would do that, but fine. You also listened last week.
Our text threads get busy.
No, you just ignore them forever, Michael, and then you don't know what Charles and I said.
That
well,
happens.
I watched last week's show, and it kind of seemed like Brad was the host. He took over and just domineered the whole thing as Michael was trying to guide the conversation along.
That is not true.
One. And I would like to add, so I watched.
Are you nighting for Michael? You think he's going to sleep with you or something?
He just had a baby.
What does that have to do with anything? That means he's extra more likely to sleep with you.
I do want to say that I watched last week's show, and I'll give you a plus 0.5, because I think you made a very good point. You guys were talking about conspiracy theories, and you said something that it's very simple. It's not really that profound, but it made me think, and it was that you said the government has never told us the truth. Why would they start now? And I was like, that's a good question. So why would I believe anything that they say? And I think it's a really great point. They've never told us the truth, so why would they start now?
That is, I mean, I don't know. It's every single level of government. Everyone knows that politicians lie. I mean, it's like politicians lying. It's the oldest joke in time. I really have no clue why people believe them when they tell you something. It makes no sense.
Well, we only believe the good ones.
What did you think about? Everyone enjoyed your singing. People really, really liked it. They've emailed us and sent in their love letter saying that they want to hear more. So I just thought, maybe we can listen to some more of you singing. Okay?
I'm the underground king, and I ain't big ground. When I run, something special's happen every time. I'm the greatest. This time I want to club with the bundle up and not gonna humble.
Okay. That didn't even sound like Mini Bed by 50 Cent, so I don't even understand. I don't. Go ahead.
I don't know why you look different in that video. How old is that video? Is it new?
According to you, last week I was on a bulk. So
I think you are on a bulk, and maybe you're using some sort of fisheye camera, man. I don't know.
Isn't it crazy that people just feel confident uploading crazy stuff to the internet?
I think that was my question. I think he knows that he's funny. That it's funny. He's not serious. He's not serious, is he?
I don't know. He doesn't.
Do you know his handle so I can follow him?
Big Daddy Charles Blain 40. It's Big Daddy Mark with a C and then the number 40. All right. Would you like to get started?
Yeah, I've been wanting to get started.
Shut your front door. We have Kamala's VP pick, Tim Walz. Is it Walz or Waltz? Walz, right?
Walz.
Are Republicans persuading independents? That's my question for you two, because I think, isn't that what's most important at this point, is persuading independents? There's new evidence in the Trump assassination, right? Charles, you sent that. You're excited about talking about that and how it's all fake, right? And it was just a guy with a gun that shot him, right? Nothing to see here. And Elon's going to rescue some space people and plus some potpourri, right?
Right.
Sounds right.
Great. So let's talk about Tim Walz. I got him in my background here. This is not a real quote, I don't think. But for those that are just listening, it says, I'm going to cut your son's normal sized. It says a bad word, but I'm going to say wee right off. It's normal size. We got to cut it off because that's what they do in Minnesota, right?
I don't know that that's what they do in Minnesota, but.
Oh, you don't think they transition young boys in Minnesota?
Do I think they do it in more Minnesota than in other places? I don't know, but.
Well, he signed a law protecting it, I believe. So everyone is just raving about this guy. He's the father figure that the women on the left never really had, is the meme going around. And I don't mean a meme in like a 4chan sort of rude way, but a meme in like, that's what women on the left are saying. He's the dad that that they lost their real dads to Trump and the Republicans and the GOP. And here comes Tim Walz, Coach Walz, in to save the day and be the father figure that they so desire.
Well, I mean, I think it's an interesting strategy. Like, I think it's probably an effective one because this is kind of like the Coach Tommy Tuberville thing. It's kind of like they're playing into this. He's a coach. He's your average American dad. When they show the pictures of him in his normal wear, like campaigning, which looks actually authentic as compared to typical politicians who put on plaid and campaign. I think they're really trying to play up this everyman aspect, and it seems to be working in their favor, largely because the media is supporting the narrative. But
is Kamala not an every woman?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious. Hey, man,
they're doing the exact same thing that the right is doing. They're trying to make JD Vance an everyman, just like they're trying to do the same to him, except the media is buying one side and not the other.
Surprise, surprise. Michael.
It's a good pick.
Is it?
Got to give it to him. He has there are some risks with that pick, as there are with any pick, but for the electoral strategy, good pick. You can try to paint him radical all you want. It's not going to work. He's an old white guy from Minnesota. He does have, his positions that you mentioned on transgender and a couple other things that can be perceived as radical, but you can't brand him as a radical. It's an impossible task because he's the most normal looking human ever. So new strategy needed. I think the other big one that's out there that is an actual risk for him and his brand and their credibility is the stolen valor story. I think there's a lot of credibility to the accusation. I think he could easily shut down the concerns.
By enlisting and going and fighting over there.
No, he just comes out. He's got kids, right? He just comes out and is like, I was a 42-year-old dad. I had kids in elementary school and I didn't want to go fight and die. And he would be admitting fault, but he would earn sympathy from some people. If he doesn't confront it in that way, which with whatever the truthful story is, it's going to be hanging over his head. And it should be because he needs to answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. There'll probably be some sympathy out there if he just comes out and says, "Hey, look, maybe I misspoke a little bit, but here's the deal, right? My battalion, they did go over there, and for Operation, what was it? Operation something Freedom? Which one was it? Operation Enduring Freedom.
See,
the war in Afghanistan. What?
Yes.
Don't speak Spanish. All right.
Iraqi freedom.
Don't do that. So
here's the
thing. My battalion was deployed over there, and I just misspoke. It was just a quick whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm a dad, and I didn't want to die.
Maybe was it a battalion?
Huh?
Was it a battalion?
I think those were his words. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
My thing is, Michael makes a great point about him being an everyday person in this weird narrative of trying to frame him as like this super like the weird when they announced. I kept seeing all these tweets from elected officials, many of them Republican elected officials from Texas, being like, this is the most radical choice you could have ever gone with. I'm like, okay, nobody believes that. Like you could say you could call him progressive, which I still dancing on the line of. You can say that he's too far left, whatever, but to say he's the most radical choice that she could have gone with, like I know you're just doing it for political purposes, but no one believes what you're saying because it's not true. Like
is it not true though?
They're acting like she picked Ilhan Omar. Like, no, it's not true. Is he a leftist? Is he progressive? Is he more progressive than conservatives would like? Yes. Is he more progressive than probably the average American person? Yes. But is he a radical left-wing progressive? I wouldn't say that. And if you look at his family, like the picture that they have of them in front of the governor's mansion, his son's in like basketball, like they're like a really normal looking family. Like, and so
his son is wearing basketball shorts, and so they're not progressive.
That wasn't at all what I was saying. I'm just saying they're a normal.
So I'm trying to figure out.
Look at them and you see your neighbor. Like, so to try to paint them as some far left-leaning progressive when that is not, you're trying to tell me not to believe my eyes. It doesn't make any sense. Like, actually talk about his policy positions that you disagree with and let those speak for themselves rather than this narrative of her picking the farthest left-leaning candidate she could have possibly ever picked in the history of this world.
It sounds like you're judging a book by its cover, Charles, which we all know is not what you're supposed to do. You're looking at pictures and saying, this guy doesn't look progressive. He can't possibly be progressive.
I didn't say it. I said he looks like your neighbor.
Okay, judging a book by its cover, fine. Keep going. Keep proving me correct. That's fine. I don't mind. I enjoy it. But your neighbors can be progressive, and I don't. What my question is, I think that he actually is pretty progressive. Is he as progressive as Ilhan Omar? I don't know. I don't think so. But is he still very progressive? Doesn't take much to be less progressive than Ilhan Omar.
No one's saying he's not very progressive. I'm saying this narrative that
you literally said it's not true.
No, I said the narrative that this is the farthest, most radical left-wing person that Kamala ever could have picked is a ridiculous narrative. That's what I'm saying. If you go look at some of the tweets that people were sending out, they're just frankly absurd.
It's pretty absurd. And when I think radical progressive, I think blue hair on the streets protesting protesting the war in Gaza. That's what I think. That's not Tom Walz. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have to think about this from a normie perspective. Like who are you trying to persuade by telling people he's a radical? The center, suburban moms, like they're not going to perceive him as a radical. Right. Now, if you bring to attention his issues, his belief in transgender, surgeries for 13-year-olds, and if you don't give your kid child or gender affirming care the kid can be taken from you, talk about that. That's fine.
They do talk about that.
They should. And if you talk about stolen valor, talk about that. But don't try to say this guy's a radical progressive. First of all, I don't even know that progressive is a meaningful term to most people. It's a term that the politicos talk about, but is it meaningful to my neighbor who's not political? I don't really think so. I think it sounds kind of nice.
And when you Googled him, now it's changed since obviously he's the nominee and all this stuff. When you initially Googled him, you would find like his campaign picture of him with his hunting dog and a rifle. Like this is not some progressive guy in that sense. If you're trying to frame him as a picturesque version of a progressive that you would traditionally find. That's why for someone like him, talking actually about the issues would make more sense than just calling him progressive. They
do talk about the issues. I don't know why you guys keep saying that. There's a reason why we all know what these issues are. It's because other people have talked about them.
I can promise you that we know what these issues are because we follow this stuff. And if you ask a regular person who does not follow politics what they've heard about Tim Walz, what's his name? Tim Walz? I don't know, whatever his name is.
Mike Wallace.
No, whatever. If you ask what they've heard about him, they've heard that he's a radical progressive. They didn't hear about these specific policies.
I think the average person
the one they might have heard has been the tampons in the bathroom, which I don't
Tampon Tim.
Great. That's probably the one thing that they've heard.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Tampon Tim is sort of a silly thing.
It's Tom. It's Tom Walz.
Whatever. But Charles really threw me off there. Tampon Tom, I think is I don't think it's very good because it kind of, you need to be specific, and like he's providing tampons to boys, right? In the boys' restroom. And that's sort of the big deal. I don't think a lot of women particularly care that he's providing, or men for that matter, are providing tampons to girls, right? Free tampons in the bathrooms. But so it's not very clear. It's not a very good nickname. And Trump has come up with a nickname for Kamala Kambala. What the fuck is that? Kamabla?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that Tom Loblaw's Law Blog?
I feel like it has something to do with kombucha, but he has not explained it.
Oh my God.
They poll tested all of this stuff and did focus groups and on Tom Walz before they picked him. And we're like, do people perceive him as radical? I guarantee it. And the Republicans are they don't know what else to say. Yes, they're talking about the policies, but they're also trying to position, this is the most radical left-wing ticket. Everybody said that up to JD Vance. It's not going to work.
This is from someone here in Texas whose name I'm not going to say who it is. You can find it if you want. There has never been a more radical, dangerous. Shh, please.
I'm down.
There has never been a more radical, dangerous leftist candidate from a major party for vice president in our republic's history.
Okay.
Come on. Another one.
That might be true. The most progressive VP candidate in our republic's history. That might be true. If you're leaving out like green candidates, and if there's a communist candidate, like major party candidate, that might be true.
I'm pretty sure they said the same thing about Kamala. I'm pretty sure they said the same thing about Obama.
Kamala was probably true. And yes, Kamala might be the most progressive VP candidate ever.
Okay, well then how is Tim Walz that then? Like
She's no longer the VP candidate, and she can pick someone more progressive. I'm saying it might be true. I'm not saying that it is or isn't, but it's not a huge stretch if you think about the history of the Republic and how progressive politics have become and how things have changed. The Overton windows changed. What's acceptable and what's not acceptable. I have this joke behind me. I'm going to cut your son's dick right off. Your normal sized son's dick right off. That's a joke because it's something that they like. That's funny because it's kind of true, right? That's where the politics is today. So it's not crazy to say, yeah, maybe he's the most progressive VP candidate ever.
It's not crazy to say in a bubble to other Republicans because they're going to believe you. But if you're trying to actually convince independents to not vote for him, saying that is not helping. That's not going to work.
Maybe that is correct. Right. I do want to play this. Huh?
That's the point. You're creating a brand for him at Jump Street. And that it's the wrong brand because it's not going to work with independents and people in the center. It's just not.
I don't know.
You're fired up about it because you don't like progressives.
Right.
I get it.
Calm down. God.
I get it. And other conservatives are fired up about it because they don't like radical progressives.
I'm fired up about it? This is weird.
Yes, but this is the same problem with what conservatives are doing right now with trying to make this the George Floyd defund the police ticket. They don't think outside of the bubble and recognize that the average person is not looking at that negatively. This is also the man who appointed the prosecutor who then prosecuted Derek Chauvin. And clearly the George Floyd protests were one of the biggest protests we've had for any civil rights moment since probably the 60s. And so you're trying to frame him as something that most people don't necessarily see negatively, but that's because conservatives only think inside of a conservative bubble.
Okay, it seems like you guys are talking to me as if I created this strategy.
Well, you're defending it. So.
I'm pushing back on y'all's words, and that's it. And you say that, like, for instance, that you push back on someone saying that he's the most progressive VP candidate in our Republic's history. I'm just saying that might be true. I'm not saying that it is. I didn't write the fucking tweet. This is not my strategy. So you two can calm the fuck down. How about that? Is that cool? Can y'all calm down?
You're an attitude off morning. You got an attitude.
I'm not sure. I think this is kind of weird. Now, this is something that progressives are really happy about for Tim Walz. It's a policy that they think is a big win, and I can see that. I'm not necessarily theoretically. I don't know how against this I am, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not my favorite thing. As we in reality. So this is him signing the bill for free school breakfast and lunch.
It is now law.
So if you listen right here, there's a little girl saying, ow. And my eye hurts.
My eye.
You hear that? Listen to this again.
Her mouth's not moving.
My eye. And my legs hurt too.
Ow, my eyes and my legs hurt too. Can y'all hear that?
Yes.
That's fake.
This is from, I'll pull up who did it, but also I want to point out that I don't think any of these children are missing breakfast or lunch. All right. They all look pretty normal, especially this girl right here. That's a tall girl.
Dude looks
Okay,
like Santa Claus without a beard.
What is the point of this?
This is from More Perfect Union, and that's a gold tick. They have 273.7 thousand followers. I don't think that that's
okay,
fake.
but assuming it's real, what is
it is real. What's the point? I just think it's weird. One, that little girl is screaming that her eyes and legs hurt. What the fuck is happening there? And two, don't you think that he could have found some actually like hungry kids, or does he not want to be seen with that riffraff?
I think that when you
Oh, I think really offensive to you two fucking like old ladies.
I'm not offended. No, I didn't think it was offensive. But I just think this is the thing. This goes back to my point. from a conservative perspective, you look at that and you think that not that there's an issue with it, but you find criticism of it. The average person looks at that and is like, wow, those kids really liked him. The average person looks at that and sees that last girl who, after he went for fist bump, she went in to get a fist bump because she wanted to get one, not that he forced her to do it. Whereas you compare that with a side by side of Sarah Sanders signing I think it was a school choice bill, and the kids look miserable next to her. So it's like this is the thing. This is why I wish conservatives would get out of a bubble and recognize that some of these things are very normal and people like them, and that is why people don't like. I wish conservatives would do more of this stuff because people would then like us a little more.
Okay, listen.
Normies love free school lunches.
Yes, again, I started off by saying this is not something I theoretically like really care about, but in like reality, it's something I'm not very happy about. Look, I am just saying it's fucking weird that kid is in pain and we can hear it, and that's strange. And then this is about feeding children because children are hungry and they can't get a square meal at home. Yada, yada, yada. And he can't even find a hungry child to do it. Do they exist? Yes. Why didn't he put them in his little photo shoot? Probably because he thinks they're ugly. Okay. Am I saying he's the most progressive? Am I tweeting out there that he's the most progressive person? Trying to tell my neighbors that he's the most progressive person? This is communism come to life? No.
You know what? The reason you hear that kid do that is because kids do and say things. And that is probably why you heard that kid say that. And the reason they have those kids is probably because when you're setting up an event like that for the governor, you find the nearest school that you can have access to that's easy and that looks good for a photo op, and you do it. And that
looks good for a photo op. That was the point, not what looks real. And look, Charles, you're like getting on to me like this is some sort of big deal to me. Would you calm down?
No, I'm not getting on to you. I'm just saying the reason I'm so frustrated is because the things that you were saying this morning are the same things that conservatives have been saying on Twitter and stuff.
What did I say this morning?
And my point is that like this is the kind of stuff that forces people to keep thinking that conservatives are weird. Like the fact that like
don't fall into conservatives are weird stuff. That's
I didn't fall into it. I'm saying that is why people feel that way. Because conservatives do weird stuff and they criticize things that are otherwise normal. Like
Charles, maybe you should get out of politics. 1, 2. Listen, I did not say all I said was I just brought up the topic, and I don't even think I said anything. Like, of course, I don't like Tim Walz and his policies. Of course, I don't think anybody questions that or would guess that I would like him. Why are you coming down on me so frustrated? Stop. You literally said the thing. You said that I said these things. That you said that 1 minute ago. Fine, go back.
Hear me out. I said the reason that I'm speaking so forcefully about this is because some of the things you're saying this morning.
What did I say this morning?
Brad, you rolled out a tape. Of Tim Walz signing a free school lunch program
and what was
in the state of Minnesota, and you are grasping at straws to criticize it. The dude looks like Santa Claus without a beard, and he's hugging children. That is good PR. And you're saying some little girl said something and there's no hungry kids. How do you know there aren't hungry kids in that crowd?
Because I'm a father and I know what hungry kids look like.
How do you know they don't have hypothyroidism? And that's why they're
the fuck up.
The point is you are grasping at straws.
What am I grasping at? What is my point? Okay. Stop, both of you. Both of you stop. I'm going to repeat it for one last time. I think it's funny that there's a girl that's saying, ow, my eyes hurt and my legs hurt. It's weird and it's funny and it's just kind of kooky. And I thought that would be fun for the show, entertaining. And then I also made a fucking joke, as I am wont to do, as both of you are aware of, that how come he couldn't find, he couldn't find, he thought that they were ugly. And that's why he didn't get hungry kids. Are you two retarded? I'm grasping at straws. What point did I make before I even played it? In theory, I don't even have a problem with this. Right? Here, let me play you this fucking clip from Instagram. And it's just, I wish the Instagram would let me pause things and replay them, rewind and stuff. But here's a guy, and I think he makes a decent point, but I think he's making it incorrectly. So I'm going to share it with you, and maybe you two will shut the fuck up as if I'm I'm on Twitter saying that he's a communist, and I'm saying that feeding children at lunches is a bad photo op. You two absolute imbeciles. God.
Who's going to pay?
Why is there no sound? No. Why
We
can't
can hear it.
We can hear it.
I can't hear it?
To have free lunch? Me.
Can y'all hear that?
Me.
Yes.
What do you even
No, well, I don't think the
about?
listeners
My
can hear
tax dollars fund war crimes.
So he's saying basically, I don't think what?
If we can hear it, I think they can hear it.
I don't think so. So basically, like people, he's making fun of Republicans, right? This guy, he's saying, who's going to pay for school lunches for children, right? I am, because my tax funds are being used to commit war crimes in Yemen. That's a fair point, right? I wouldn't mind actually paying for school lunches if that was my choice. I'm going to pay for school lunches for kids or war crimes in Yemen. I'm going to pick school lunches. Like, that's the last thing I'm going to attack. The first thing, if I was president, if I was emperor of the United States, one of the first things I would do was, one, kick you two off this show. And then two, I would end all of these fucking foreign wars, right? That's the last thing I would do is stop providing lunches for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Are you two, like, is that hard to understand?
No.
Or are y'all going to start coming after me again as if I'm the one?
Yeah,
Stop. As if I'm the one that's making all of these negative calls against Tim Walz, other than my background. That's all that I've said negatively about him. I'm not saying anything else. So would you two bring it down 2 notches?
Okay. I think we're just having a discussion, and you are playing devil's advocate in this conversation, as you always do, as I always do. We all do it at different points. And I think you're playing devil's advocate. And so because of that, we're responding, but we're not mad at you. We're not yelling at you.
Mad at you. You guys are just wrong.
About what?
About your like Charles is saying that I'm saying all these things. Michael is like yelling at me saying this is a good photo op. What's wrong with me? Like this has nothing. I'm grasping at straws. What straws am I grasping at? You two fucking psychos.
Saying her eyes hurt.
Funny.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to a different topic, because Brad is clearly, he loves Tim Walz so much. I mean, hates Tim Walz so much as a human being.
I love him or hate him.
I don't know anymore. I don't know. It's
I might vote Kamala
for this conversation.
Maybe. Who knows?
Can we transition to, or I'll transition us to the second,
you really
topic?
Like that word, don't you? Transition, huh?
Uh-huh.
That's since we're talking about Tim Walz in Minnesota. He did sign a law that that made pedophilia a sexual orientation in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of fucked up.
That's horrible. And they hit him on that. He deserves to get hit on that very hard.
He deserves to get hit on. Go on, Michael.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just to transition to the point that Charles is trying to make, like here, the Republicans need to be saying, we had 3 years of Trump pre-COVID. Do you want that time? Good jobs, good economy, no wars, all the things, First Step Act, all the things that we were able to accomplish. Do you want that? Or do you want that? Or do you want Kamala Harris, who, what's happening?
Why do you have a snake? Stop it. Would you stop? Charles has a snake on his arm.
It's been here the whole time.
It has not been there the whole time.
You have a snake on your arm?
Can you not see it?
No, I can now.
It's been here the whole time, and it's usually here during most of our shows.
That is definitely not true.
I've never seen that.
We've done this for almost a year, and we've never seen it. It's not here for most of the shows.
In my hand, not necessarily on my shoulder.
You don't hold a fucking snake while we do this show, you liar.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're talking about something else. You know what I'm talking about?
You never know.
Black Mamba? Huh? So is he convincing? Are they convincing independents? Because isn't that and I have a question. Isn't that the most important thing for these two candidates to do, is to convince independents?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's going to come down to the center in like 7 states, in a bunch of in a few counties, and the message needs to be.
Let me pause you just for a second, Charles. You look nervous. I hate to interrupt. Yes, because you have a snake crawling on you, and you're like very rigid.
Oh no, that's because my arm is supporting his body. That's why.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go on, Michael.
What was I talking about? Oh, the message needs to be 3 years of Trump. Here's all the things we did with First Step Act. We secured the border. The economy was great. The economy was great. We didn't have any wars. All the things. And on the other side, or you could have Kamala Harris, who you can't trust. Why? Because when she takes positions, she flip-flops on them and roll the tape on all the issues that she changed her mind on. She knifed her own president in the back. She can't be trusted. 1, 2, she's incompetent. She doesn't know what she's talking about. They can't take her off of a teleprompter or off of the script because it's too risky. And 3, she's fucking mean. She's a mean person. That's it. That's what will win the center. But they're not doing that.
Is
They're
she mean?
talking about. Yeah, did you see how she responded to that protester in the crowd that was talking?
Yeah.
Like all of her staff quit within like months because she's a mean person. She broke up a marriage. Like there's plenty of evidence of her being a mean person.
Well, and that's the thing. That is what my frustration is about this whole campaign so far, is it has been about everything but things that actually move the needle. It's been about framing these people as we've already gone through it, but it's been about framing them that certain way rather than just talking about the things that you can use against them, rather than talking about the record that Tim Walz has in his in Minnesota. I get it because it's politics and it's politics in 2024, but I feel like it's a missed opportunity. And if we keep missing the opportunity, what's going to end up happening is they're going to waltz on into.
Oh, there it is.
Hey.
But I feel like we keep missing the opportunity. There's great things to hit them on, as you just mentioned, and we keep getting distracted with all this other stuff because you know what that does? It gets retweets and it gets likes and it gets the base fired up, but it doesn't talk to independents.
Yeah. Like I tweeted, I don't know, yesterday morning. I don't know why Trump hasn't challenged her to 5 debates. What is going on?
Why hasn't he now? I thought I saw something yesterday.
Yesterday, he must have read my tweet because he challenged her to 3 debates after that tweet. It's obvious. We need to get, the Republican Party needs to get her off a teleprompter because she's smart enough to like read from a script. But they need to get her off of a teleprompter, as many debates as possible. They have to take that risk. They have to force her to do interviews. They have to get her to answer to how she changed her position on everything in like a year. She's like now disavowing everything that she previously had said. Because it's because it breeds distrust.
Keep going.
It's because normal people will look at that and be like, yeah, wait, she just changed her position on everything?
Yes, apparently. So here's the thing, and I predict this will happen. The one debate that they agreed to, or the one debate that she previously agreed to and that now Trump has, is the September 10th ABC one. Anything that happens in that debate, good for Trump, bad for Kamala, or maybe even vice versa, is going to be overshadowed because you know what happens on the morning of September 11th? For 3 hours, they read the names of September 11th victims, and we just watch the 9/11 memorial. And you talk about it all day on the news. And so I feel like everything that happens the night before is going to get buried. They'll start to play it probably midday, late day news, maybe. But by that time, it starts to be old news. They're going to have pictures of Trump and Kamala probably visiting the 9/11 memorial, which is going to, take over any of the narrative of what happened the night before. So I feel like we're going to miss out on any opportunity to get some longevity out of things that come out of that debate.
Yeah, but Trump could get on Truth Social every day and say, Kamala, 5 debates, let's do it. And just keep tweeting it every day until she has to respond to it. Let's both go on Joe Rogan. Let's talk to Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan won't interview them, I thought I saw.
Oh,
him.
He said that he wouldn't do Trump. I don't know why. Seems kind of
both.
Well, he endorsed JFK, so now they're not doing anything. RFK.
He endorsed JFK. Yeah.
He would do both. But the point being, you need to get her to react, and he's not. And you could flip the script on her. Like, why won't you debate Trump 5 times? What are you afraid of?
But also, Connie Burton had a really great tweet today, which I wholeheartedly agreed with. I'm going to read it in part. And it's about this debate. It's about all the Republicans criticizing Kamala or Kamabla, however you would like to say, for not doing it. She goes, I'm seeing a lot of this kind of complaint on here. It's valid and frustrating, but this isn't new. Trump wouldn't debate his opponents during the primary. It's a strategy used by candidates all the time. Mainstream bias for D's has been going on for years. We know it. We need to operate. We need to work hard with the circumstances that exist. And I agree. I mean, I think this isn't new. Trump didn't do it during the primary. We know it's happening. He's got to operate in the circumstances that it is. Use his opportunity to continue to call for debate, sure, but he needs to pivot and figure out something else that's going to be effective because she's probably not going to agree to do that.
I don't think that. I mean, is it common for like official party candidates to not debate each other in recent politics. Not doing it in the primary, maybe it's a strategy, but I can't remember the last time there was a Democrat and a Republican candidates that didn't debate each other.
I mean, I do
Trump
think
did too. Biden Trump did too. That was less than is normal.
I think that was probably also because of COVID and probably also because of Biden.
Yeah,
I do think it is becoming more common, and it's not just in presidential politics. I mean, we had a huge county judge race here, and the incumbent county judge refused to do any debates with her opponent. And like, I think you start to see this, and there's no obligation to, right? Like, there's no obligation to, and so why do it if you feel that doing it is going to harm you? And I think we're going to see more and more of it. And I don't think you can exempt the primaries from the general. If you're not going to do it in the primaries, same criticism should be levied on both. And Trump did not participate in any primary debate.
I don't know I don't know if I agree with
Why
that.
would it be different?
Why are they different?
What?
They're different. So why are they different? They're different things.
Because one is just Republicans, one's the general public. Why should Republicans not have the opportunity to see a debate among Republican candidates, but the general population should have an opportunity?
I'm not saying that they should or should not. I'm just saying they're different things. So they're going to have different strategies for things. And as the country is picking the winner of the two, right? The entire country, not just one party, and not out of like 16. There's only two people at this point. I'm sorry, RFK fans. Sorry, Joe Rogan. Not going to happen. I think it's pretty important. I know it's not. They don't have to do it. It's not the law, but it's different.
I don't know. I don't see it as different. I mean, you have less people.
Primaries and general election is different things, right?
You have less people who are deciding the general election winner than you have deciding the primary winner.
Okay, is that true?
I mean, if you're talking about the swing voters who are going to make the decision for who wins the election, sure, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think the point that Connie's making, and it's a fair point, is that in today's politics, people feel like they don't have to do the debate if it's a risk to them. And they can just put out ads and stump speeches that have been planned and written by other people and just put that out and hope people believe it. And that's a sad state of affairs.
Is there going to be a peaceful transfer of power if Trump wins?
Yeah.
You think so?
But Biden not going to give it up? Yeah, of course. Yes. I think it's going to be a peaceful trip. He probably won't show up at the inauguration. He probably won't have any interaction with him, but he's going to leave the White House.
If Trump wins, will there be a peaceful?
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can.
Who is that?
Jamie Raskin.
Jamie Raskin. You probably don't recognize him without his do-rag, but
I thought that looked like it was recorded in the 1980s. So I didn't.
that was like last week. So what he's talking about is Donald Trump allegedly incited an insurrection. Never convicted of it, so he's just accused of it, right?
Yep.
And so Raskin is saying, well, he's not eligible to win because he's been accused of an insurrection. And they're going to have to, in the Supreme Court, who is just not busy at all and has this huge staff, and they're not really doing anything. They're kind of, taking trips with their buddies, going to their lake houses, wherever. Well, I don't know what they're doing. That huge staff, they can't be bothered to do anything, so they're going to kick it back to Congress. And Congress, Jamie Raskin, with his bodyguards and civil war conditions, is going to have to tell all the Trump horde that he's not eligible to be president.
I mean, no one serious is saying that, though.
Yeah, Jamie Raskin's a pretty serious person.
Isn't he Minority Whip?
I mean,
he's something like
you don't have to get kinky about it, but that's all right.
He's something like that. Raskin's a serious player in the Texas House, in the U.S. House.
Yes.
Would they actually do that? Man,
I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they did just try to kill him, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Oh, did they, Charles?
He's okay. So he's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. My thing is if I heard that coming from Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, like other people who, what's that guy, Chuck Schumer, like I would then take it a little bit more seriously. But I mean, he wasn't even one of the ones who they were talking about got in there to convince Biden to get out of the race. So I feel like while he's a serious player, I feel like him saying that in a one-off commentary without other people echoing that concern or echoing that statement, I don't take it very seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, he's putting it out in the ether. I think the others feel like Kamala can win.
Is he acting in a silo, you think? Is he not conspiring with his colleagues?
I wouldn't put it past them to try to do that. Okay, but can they pull it off? They
have bodyguards, is what he's saying. So they need guns.
What are the logistics of that?
What are the logistics of what? Telling the hordes of Trump supporters that I'm sorry he can't be president, and then they get their bodyguards?
Well, the Supreme Court would have to decide.
Well, I think in the situation that he's talking about, the Supreme Court is too lazy to do anything, and they're not going to be there, and it's going to be Congress versus the hordes of Trump supporters. But it's kind of like what he's saying. He's saying civil war conditions. I don't know how it works, but it seems it's coming from a very serious person.
Yeah, it is. But doesn't the House ratify the electors and then it goes to the Senate to accept them? Isn't that the process? And if that is the process, all the Republicans will stick together in the House, so they won't be able to do that. Can they reject the electors in the Senate? I guess possibly.
How many Republicans do you think would go with the Democrats? Do you think they could be convinced by, I don't know, maybe they went into a skiff like Mike Johnson did, and all of a sudden they just totally flip-flop because the FBI had a stern conversation with them?
They're not gonna side with Democrats because these are the same Republicans who spent years talking about how they dislike Trump and then turned around and endorsed him during this election.
I mean, dude, the Republicans are not like, what do they do? Like, what this is? I could totally see a handful of Republicans that are never Trumpers just switching over and saying, yeah, we're fine with this.
But what Republicans in the House who were never Trumpers a year ago are still out here being never Trumpers? Either they silenced themselves or they got on board with him. A number of them just
Liz Cheney, ever heard of her?
She's not even there anymore.
I'm joking with you.
Because she was never Trumper.
Right. What I'm saying is all the ones that were speaking up about it previously have either just stopped or they straight up endorsed him. I mean, look at
the Why did they stop? What do you think would happen if the FBI took them into a skiff and showed them some pictures that they put on their laptop?
They stopped because they know they feel like Trump was going to be the nominee and win, and they wanted to be in the end.
Yeah, it's okay. It's politics.
I hear what you're saying, Brad. I could see them trying some funny stuff if Trump wins. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Raskin can see it too. I think that's kind of important. That's why I asked, is it going to be a peaceful transfer of power? I think it probably will. Cool things never happen. Am I right, guys?
You're right, Brad.
Jamie Raskin needs to read the rest of the amendment.
Well, it's not about reading the rest of the amendment. No, you know that. You know it doesn't matter what it says. No one's going to read it, right? They're just going to Google it, and they're going to find all sorts of like New York Times articles that are saying it's true, right? Yashar Ali at Yashar on Twitter says the Wall Street Journal has obtained body cam footage of local police complaining that they repeatedly asked the U.S. Secret Service days in advance to secure the warehouse that was eventually used by the shooter who attempted to assassinate Trump and killed one man. Now, Charles, I think it's really important to get your take on this because you seem to still be on the bandwagon that it's just some kid that had a gun and he went and shot the president, and there's no funny business happening.
How do I seem to be on that bandwagon?
Oh God, let's see. Last week you said on the shooting. This is your commentary about Michael and I's show last week. You said on the shooting, I don't believe it. It was just a stupid kid doing a stupid thing, and we're looking far too much into it. However, I do agree with Brad, and that's you complimented me saying that the government never tells the truth.
Yeah, no. I definitely still agree with that statement.
Which part?
My statement.
That the government doesn't, that it's just a kid. So I'm right? I said that you seem to be on the bandwagon that it's just some kid that just tried to shoot the president. You said, why do you think that? And then
I wanted to know why you thought that.
Charles, don't play this game.
So I did, because I wanted to make sure you weren't putting words in my mouth or misrepresenting anything that I believe. But the thing is, I think it's much more complicated and nuanced than that. Do I think that this kid was a kid who went and tried to shoot the president? Yes. But there are still questions that need to be answered as to why they did not respond to the pleas of the local police, why the one sniper was able to take a shot and was not told he could take a shot, why they did not have the perimeter secured in advance, why he was fully exposed the way that he was. So there's still a lot of questions as to the handling of the overall situation. Do I think this kid was some psyop placed there to do this, carrying out a task for whatever government agency? No, I don't believe that. But I do believe that something happened internally with the Secret Service that led to this. I don't know if that was intentional or unintentional, but I think something happened. I still err on the side that I'm not going to, attribute something to malice that is purely incompetence. But I do think that there are a lot of answers that are a lot of questions that are unanswered.
I can't. It's hard to believe, to be honest.
The official story. Yeah. So if we start
it's also hard to believe that someone that knows that the government always lies, that they're constantly incompetent over and over and over, that eventually the incompetence thing doesn't really, that excuse stops working, right? When does that stop working?
Does it though? Like, people are incompetent all the time. People fail up all the time.
Sure, but at some point it's malicious. The system is malicious, right? At least the system is, because they just allow incompetence to happen over and over and over. But all the evidence is pointing to, like, hey, they didn't, like, they are being told and radioed, and everyone is asking, cover this building, do something. They hear pitter patter, as Michael Searle likes to say, of a little boy with his gun on the roof, and they do nothing about it. It can't just be like, oopsies.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're wanting me to believe a scenario that has not been
I don't want you to believe anything.
A scenario that has not been presented. I have not seen anyone say, this is what I think has happened. This kid was a CIA plant who did this. I've never seen anything like that. All I've heard is, we don't know. So, like, you want me to believe something that no one has ever actually presented, whereas I have this likely scenario in my mind that is attributed to incompetence, because we know government and government officials are always incompetent, and which seems more likely because no alternative scenario has been presented. Give me another scenario to believe, and I'm all ears.
They're also almost always involved in the assassination of presidents. Almost always.
All over the world.
Give me one that they weren't involved with. So
I don't have one.
Caesar.
Yeah, no, I am not.
Well, that was the Senate. So yes, they were involved in that one too.
Well, the CIA and FBI weren't. I don't think. Maybe the Knights Templar or the Illuminati. They go back pretty far.
They sure do. I'm not dismissing that that's a possibility, that it's just incompetence. I just think that the balance of the data tips it in favor of there's more to the story.
But why has anybody been able to present any sort of
people?
You just haven't. They have, yeah. They
so give
have.
me just one example.
What about the audio? Those are two different guns.
Okay, but no, what I'm saying is, I've not heard, and maybe you guys have, someone lay out what they believe happened. Like
I don't need a conclusion. That there's two guns, possibly.
You don't need.
There are possibly two guns.
You don't need to know what the right answer is. Wrong.
Yeah. We can go back to JFK. There were two guns at least. And the government said there was one gun. And they said anybody that disagrees is a conspiracy theorist. Yet there was evidence and people saying there's a second gun. Well, we have audio from a bunch of different sources showing that the shots 3, 4, 5, 6 are from a different distance. They're from possibly inside a building. And they're using a different gun.
The shots are coming from inside.
Hey, I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that it's possible. But the other thing that raises a red flag is, why is the media and the law enforcement all over trying to figure out if that's true or not?
I brought this up last time, sort of offhandedly, and I'm genuinely curious, Charles, to hear your opinion on this. Does jet fuel melt steel beams but not passports?
Anyway, I think
a real question. Passports were found in the rubble, like with singed edges, and they found them, and these were the passports of the terrorist attacker.
Okay, does everything burn in a fire? No.
Yes, in the 9/11 fire, yes, everything burns, especially evidence of Enron's criminal activity.
Every time you have
Especially
a fire,
the Pentagon's missing $1 trillion. That evidence burns too.
every time you have a fire, you find people's journals and diaries and pictures and
Yes, in a small house fire, sure, but in a fire that supposedly collapses 2 of the world's largest buildings and everything is absolutely destroyed, they find 2 paper passports that were inside the airplane that blew up.
But everything wasn't destroyed. When I went down there like September 15th, 16th, my dad took us down there. There was still paper and shit in the ashes, like just stuff.
Yes,
Just
from
stuff. I
airplanes.
don't know.
Do you think the terrorists didn't open the windows and throw the passports out the window before they did it?
How do you?
How do I know? Because you can't do that. The windows don't open. Can we do like some political potpourri just really quick? Because I think this is funny. Is this okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Joe.
This show sucks.
This is JD Vance's wife, this is her, right? She's quite pretty.
I want him to explain what the dorky habits he had. Did she explain?
She hesitated. I said, what are the dorky interests that he has? And she hesitated and she said, he's going to kill me for saying this, but it's Magic the Gathering, which was a card game. And some of the guys on set know about it. It's similar to like Pokemon is so popular now.
I want to scream because that was I guess Fox and Friends in the morning. They were playing a clip of an interview that they did with JD Vance's wife, and they were talking over it. So you didn't hear JD Vance's wife actually speak, but they're saying, "Do you guys even know what Magic the Gathering is?" I presume you do. I don't know. Given the things how do you not know what that is?
No, I don't. I know that. I know what it is. I know losers play like Dungeons and Dragons.
And she says it's similar to Pokemon, which is just like, I think that people will get very upset with that. I think that was kind of a fun little snippet. He's into Magic the Gathering. I haven't played Magic the Gathering since probably 5th grade. Okay, guys, but I still know what it is because I don't live underneath a rock.
Well, me and Michael actually had friends and we were kind of cool and at that age. So I don't think we were.
Well, you were busy on that boysparty.com or whatever it was. So. I thought that was fun. Do y'all want to do real potpourri? Sure.
Yeah. We don't have to talk more about the dork, do we?
JD Vance?
The weird dork?
Well, I think JD Vance, there's a rumor that he likes to have sex with couches, but then also there's a rumor that Tim Walz swallowed a gallon of horse semen. So there's a mullet contest, the 2024.
People are weird.
People are weird. I don't know what's true and what's not true. So we're going to look at some mullets because the Mullet Championship, 2024 Mullet Championship is happening. Do y'all want to look at we got to look at who's who, right? I'm trying to pull up. Do y'all want to look at the adults? They got adults, teens, and kids. What do y'all want to see? Don't be weird, Charles.
Let's just see the adults and get it over with.
Why are you in such a bad mood?
I'm not in a bad mood at all.
Out of politics. God, would you do it already? All right, 2024 adult contestants. This is round 3. So they've been through 2 rounds. These are the contestants, right? And I think that some of these mullets are coming back, right?
No,
they are. I think they're kind of cool now. And I don't know if they weren't. I don't know how Jason Rayner got into this. That does not look like a good mullet, right?
He looks like Joe Dirt.
I'm sure he's a nice guy if he watches this. What I don't like is that there's women in it. I don't like that. I think a mullet is a man's haircut and it should be a man's sport. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Well, she
has a mullet.
I know, but it's not cool. Like a guy has to work to grow his hair out. A woman,
that's a cool green.
Oh my God, you're a freak, aren't you?
It is a nice shade of green.
It shouldn't.
I like Magic Dragons.
Magic the Gathering. 1, 2. It seems unfair that women are in a mullet competition, right?
Oh no, that's badass. She looks like she got a spiderweb tattooed on her head. That's really cool.
Shut up, Charles. You don't believe that. You're saying that to make someone angry, aren't you?
She's a spiderweb tattooed on her head?
That's not cool.
Yes, it is.
Why don't you have a spiderweb tattooed on your head or anywhere on your body?
Because I don't like spiders or spiderwebs.
But then it's not very cool, is it?
On me, but on her,
it is cool. Head?
Yes. It's
Charles,
You guys have
if a listener, if my child ever comes to you and says, "Hey, Unky Charles, should I get a spider web tattooed on my head?" And you said, "Yeah, I think that'll be kind of cool." I'm going to murder you.
Well, it depends on if your child's gothic or not. If your child's like a cheerleader, then I'm like, yeah, no, that's not cool. But if you're goth.
Oh my God.
But do you guys have any tattoos?
Huh?
No, I don't have any tattoos, no. But I think the winner of this, and I mean, these are not, none of these I think are very impressive, to be honest. I hate
this guy right here.
I hate
to the
this.
left.
This guy?
No, to the left of him.
This guy?
Yeah.
Monty Aiton? The Mullet Mafia?
No.
No, that's not who you're
My
talking
left, you're right.
He's talking about Nathan Laffey?
With the red shirt.
Oh, no. The one next to the other one.
The one next to the other one. You guys are
Go
off
back.
with this.
Red shirt, top.
Matt Ray.
Matthew Ray.
That guy. Yep.
And
that
Handle
one wins.
Justice.
For sure.
Oh, he must be from Texas. Oh, no, Florida.
I don't know. I don't really like that top there. That doesn't seem right.
He's my choice.
That doesn't seem right. I mean, I think as far as mullets go, I think that Morgan Earp, GOAT mullet of all time, and it's not even close. I think that his is the best. I hate his earring, his gauge. Charles probably thinks it's fucking really cool, like a weirdo.
No, I don't really like gauges.
Oh, but you like spider web tattoos on people's heads?
It's cool. Or their knees or their elbows. I mean, yes, it's cool.
It's not. Knees and elbows are not the same as head. It's not cool.
Beg to differ. But you also play Dungeons and Dragons, so
Yeah.
Magic Dragon.
you're not the arbiter of.
Also played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a child. Not a big deal.
Well,
Okay, well, I thought this was going to be a lot more fun, but you two fucking are not having fun.
we're having a great time talking
Yeah.
about this.
I picked my winner, red shirt, Matthew Ray. Gets
Let's
my
see
vote.
what the teen and the kids look like.
Do you want to look at the kids? Charles, this is not happening. You know what? I'm hesitant with your boysparty.org or whatever it was called. I don't even think we should be looking at the teens.
This is ridiculous.
All right? This is not good. Not a good look. But I mean, I have so much content that I can play, but I don't know if I want to blow it all on one show. I'll do this. I think Charles would like this. So there's a theory: season, birth, personality, and health outcomes. Because Charles, you're into this bullshit, right?
Is this another potpourri?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. So this says how the month you were born affects your personality according to science.
Fauci.
I believe that.
Sure, absolutely. Spring. What's your birthday, Charles?
October, which is fall.
Okay, I know that October is in fall, but thank you. For people who believe in astrology, Charles, the general equanimity of fall babies seems to provide evidence that at least the sign of Libra, the well-balanced scales. Are you Libra?
Yes,
Ooh, not well-balanced. Has something going for it.
I do.
It doesn't, of course, but whether the cause is of bountiful nutrients available at harvest time or the fact that the long nights and seasonal illness of winter have not yet descended, people born into fall not only enjoy low levels of depression, but are similarly less likely to develop bipolar disorder. The one glitch in the autumn born, they do have tendency to irritability. We have seen that on this show today. Michael, what is your birthday?
February.
Whoa, what is that? Is that winter? Charles, help me. Is it winter? Help me.
Yes, it's winter. Yes.
Yeah, maybe things could get rough. Among the challenges facing people with winter birthdays are higher levels of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, seasonal affective disorder, and depression. That's a nasty handful, but there are a few compensations. Winter babies are less irritable than those born in fall. What's more, according to an admittedly small 2015 study of 300 celebrities, January and February are the right months to be born if you want to be famous, since those months correlate with creativity and imaginative problem solving.
Michael is good at problem solving, and he's creative.
I mean, you think the show would have a bigger following.
I'm schizophrenic, that's for sure.
Brad, what's yours? Please do tell.
July 21st. You guys fucking missed it, bitches. No seasonal affective disorder. What?
I think we said happy birthday.
I don't think so. No seasonal affective disorder for you, at least nothing caused by the light levels after your birth, though there may be some impact from mom having carried you in December, January, and February. I always say that to my mom. How dare you carry me during December, January, and February? What a bitch. Am I right? Summer babies have some of the most hyperthymic characteristics, such as spring babies, but they can be offset by cyclothymia, rapid cycling between high and low moods.
You can say that again.
Oh, yeah, you can say that again. Still, that's probably not a warning sign of bipolar disorder. Bipolar diagnoses are lowest among babies born in August. So I'm the most healthy of us all, based on my birth month.
I mean,
I'm
the high and low is not the healthiest. Libras are balanced, so I'm probably the healthiest. I'm just slightly irritable.
No, I think I'm right. So,
and I'm just a psycho, which was clear from my. But isn't it the age of Aquarius?
This is the age of Aquarius.
Aquarius. How did I find that? There was an interesting Wikipedia article as well that said something about July being the best, but
well, it is Wikipedia, so
yeah, I mean it's probably sometimes they get it right though. You know what I mean?
Those radical progressives have infiltrated Wikipedia.
They have.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? All right. Well, that was fun, guys. Charles, I promise you, the next time I do potpourri, it's gonna be just for you.
Are you excited? Much appreciated.
Are you excited that the next time it's gonna be it's your potpourri? Like it's the next time I get potpourri, it's gonna be laser focused on Charles. What's your middle name?
I don't have one.
Shut the fuck up. What's your middle name?
Well, it's a month away, so you're not gonna. We'll see what happens.
What's your middle name?
It doesn't matter. I don't want someone to steal my identity.
Charles, I can just. What is your middle name, you weirdo?
Oh my god, this show is ridiculous.
All right. Well, that was fun. Everyone like and subscribe. What?
It's Javon.
Javon?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I believe you. All right. Well, this was a good show. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Everyone, like and subscribe and share with your friends, especially your moms and your uncles. We love them the most, especially Miss Blain. As I said in the beginning, please come on the show. We would love to speak with you and ask you all sorts of questions about why Charles is the way he is. Guys, thank you so much. Everyone, follow us. All the links are down in the description below. And set up notifications. I guess I'll click in stream because Charles doesn't know how to do it.